In the heart of ancient Alexandria, a city where knowledge was the ultimate power and whispers held more sway than swords, lived a young woman named Amara. She wasn't a queen or a warrior. She was a librarian's daughter, her world built from papyrus scrolls and the quiet rustle of turning pages. But Amara possessed a mind sharper than any Roman gladius, an intellect that could navigate the treacherous currents of politics as skillfully as a ship's captain navigates the Nile. Our story begins as the shadow of Rome stretches across the Mediterranean, its gaze falling upon the fertile lands of Egypt. The Roman Senate, ever hungry for power and control, hatched a secret plot. Their goal, to seize control of Egypt's grain supply, the very lifeblood of the empire. By manipulating the Egyptian Senate and installing a puppet governor, they believed they could bring the breadbasket of the world to its knees, all without spilling a single drop of blood in open battle. It was a war to be fought in the shadows. A conspiracy whispered in marbled halls and sealed with wax. But these whispers did not go unheard. They reached the great library, and through its vast network of scholars and scribes, they found their way to Amara. Pulled from her world of books and thrust into a high-stakes game of espionage, Amara found herself at the center of a shadow war. This wasn't a conflict of legions and chariots, but one of coded letters, stolen secrets, clever disguises, and carefully constructed lies. To unravel this conspiracy, Amara had to become a phantom, moving unseen through the highest echelons of society. One day, she would be a shy handmaiden, serving wine to gossiping Roman senators, her ears catching every boastful word and careless admission. The next, she'd be disguised as a scribe, her quill scratching away in the company of Egyptian nobles, noting their anxieties, their ambitions, and their secret loyalties. She navigated the labyrinthine alleys of Alexandria, meeting with scholars who could decipher hidden meanings, spies who traded information like currency, and smugglers who knew every secret passage in and out of the city. Through it all, Amara cultivated an image of harmlessness. She was just a quiet observer, a girl easily overlooked, her presence as unassuming as a shadow on the wall. This was her greatest advantage. While the powerful men around her postured and preened, consumed by their own importance, Amara listened. She watched, and she learned. Her weapon wasn't poison or a hidden dagger. It was a profound understanding of human nature. She knew how to exploit vanity, how to plant seeds of doubt, and how to use an enemy's own arrogance against them. She understood that the most powerful men often share a fatal flaw. They believe they are smarter than everyone else in the room. Amara's true enemy wasn't the might of Rome itself. It was time. The Roman plot was a serpent, coiling tighter with each passing day. The puppet governor was already on his way. The bribes had been paid, and the votes in the Senate were all but secured. She had to dismantle this intricate machine of deception piece by piece, all before the final gear clicked into place. She began with subtle manipulations. A forged letter, seemingly from one Roman conspirator to another, would hint at a betrayal, sowing discord and mistrust within their ranks. She would anonymously feed information to a notoriously ambitious Egyptian noble, making him believe he had uncovered a rival's treachery, leading him to disrupt the Romans' plans out of self-interest. She'd use a scholar's knowledge of Roman law to find a loophole, a forgotten clause that could delay a crucial vote in the Senate, buying herself precious days. One of her most daring moves involved a Roman general known for his immense pride and his secret love for rare antiquities. Posing as a merchant's assistant, Amara arranged for him to discover a forged map, one that promised the location of a legendary lost tomb filled with treasures. The general, blinded by greed and the desire for glory, diverted resources and attention to this wild goose chase, leaving his part of the conspiracy exposed and vulnerable. She played the long game, a grand master of chess, moving her pieces with deliberate calm. She used the Roman senators' own words against them, leaking their private, condescending remarks about their Egyptian allies to the very nobles they were trying to bribe. Suddenly, the promises of Roman gold seemed less appealing when paired with such blatant disrespect. Alliances frayed, suspicions grew. The solid foundation of the Roman plot began to crumble into sand. The climax of this silent war didn't take place on a battlefield. It happened in the grand chamber of the Egyptian Senate. The day of the final vote had arrived. The lead Roman conspirator, a pompous senator named Cassius, stood before the assembly, confident of his victory. He had bought the votes, he had his puppet ready, and he could already taste the power he would wield over Egypt. But as he began his grand speech, a series of messengers began to arrive. The first delivered a note to a key Egyptian noble. revealing that the support Cassius had promised him was also promised to his fiercest rival. The second delivered a ledger, publicly exposing the bribes Cassius had paid, detailing every coin and to whom it went. The third revealed the general's foolish and costly treasure hunt, making the Roman military presence look not strong but incompetent. Confusion turned to anger, and anger turned to ridicule. The carefully orchestrated plan fell apart in a matter of minutes, not with the clash of steel, but with the eruption of laughter. Cassius stood humiliated, his conspiracy laid bare for all to see, his arrogance exposed as his greatest weakness. The plot was defeated not by an army, but by a librarian's daughter who knew that the most powerful weapon of all is the truth delivered at precisely the right moment. The story of Amara is not one of war and conquest. It's a tale of quiet courage, of intellectual brilliance, and of the profound power of being underestimated. It ends, not with bloodshed, but with the quiet correction of history, a silent victory won in the shadows. It reminds us that sometimes the most significant changes are brought about not by those who shout the loudest, but by those who listen the closest. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story of wit and intrigue, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from the annals of history. See you next time.